Welcome to lesson 1 of Canicross training. Today we're going to start by teaching our demo dog Willy to line out. We're going to use some food rewards and a target, and the idea here is that we're going to teach her to put pressure on her harness, hold the line tight out in front of us, and she'll be rewarded with being sent to the target. So first thing we do, load the target. I'm going to keep my hand on her harness for the first couple of reps so that she is feeling a little bit of tension there. And an important thing here is I keep the tension on even after she's sent to the target. So in this case, I use the word okay as a release to get a treat, and I also happen to use that as my mushing cue. So it's sort of a dual purpose thing here.
Good girl.
If you're going to use a word that's different for those two things, in this scenario, just use your release word. Okay, so here we go. Willy's got a small leash on now. That will be a little bit more manageable for me when I'm getting her to put some pressure on the line. And it also gets me a little further back behind her. So right now I'm waiting for her to lock on the target, and then I say okay and release her to the treat. I'm not ever going to pay her for looking at me during this session. She's watching me load the target and stuff, but I'm not going to pay her for that. Okay, reloading the target. I'm holding tension on her, and I'm telling her now, line out. And as soon as she locks onto that treat, as long as she's been also putting tension on her harness, I send her to the treat. Let's do another repetition. So you'll find that some dogs who've had good leash walking training have been taught that tension means they should come back to you. Doing this training will not make your dog become a maniac puller in all walks of life. We're teaching them a pretty specific context here. I'm actually going to add a second target, and I send her to the first one, and she should eventually figure out that the second one is also there. It's in the original location. Oh, yeah, there she goes. The purpose of adding the second target once your dog is getting decent at going to the first one is twofold. First, we're building the duration of time that she's putting tension on her harness, because I'm not going to take the tension off the harness until she gets to that second treat. Secondly, we're developing a system where we're going to be able to reward her for lining out, and then eventually be able to reward her for continuing to pull further down the trail. So you'll see that how that progresses in future lessons. But for now, what you want is those two target plates, and they need to be in a row. Pretend your dog is working on a trail. If you're working somewhere like the hallway, that would actually be pretty ideal. Load both targets so that she sees you load them but doesn't snarf them down. I'm waiting for her to lock onto that first target, and then I send her, and this time she immediately goes to the second target after she
That was really good. Good job.
So when the dog is starting to figure this out pretty well, I'm going to start asking her to independently put tension on the line to start it. She's going to learn that her putting tension on the line is what starts the game. So first we kind of get back to our starting spot here, and I'm holding the leash loose. She's like, oh, I'll sniff over there, sniff over there. Looks at me, briefly looks at that treat and puts tension on the harness, and I release her. I want to make sure she's rewarded for doing that. These dogs that have been taught to walk nicely on leash, sometimes what they'll do is they'll offer that tension, and then they'll think, oh wait, I better heel. And being that we're using a pulling harness and we're trying to teach a pulling behavior, we don't want her doing that. Okay, loose line. See if I can get her to line out. Yep, she lunges forward, puts tension on. I hold her back just briefly and then release her.
Good job. Very good. We do one more?
You kind of have to weigh what you want to work on here, and the priority is to avoid your dog ping-ponging back and forth between putting tension on the line and releasing it on their own by coming back towards you. So if you think your dog might do that, release them to the treat sooner than later, and of course keep maintaining that tension on the line when you do that. Okay, here she's thinking about it. She's like, I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. She looks at it briefly, so I release her and I keep that tension on. Once she's on the second treat, I give her some loving, release the tension, and we'll reload here again one more time. This part takes a while. Like nose work, dogs who've had less training tend to pick up on it faster than dogs who've had more training. She's thinking about it a little too much. There we go. Now she's figured out, oh yeah.
Yes, good
Tension.
job. Okay,
That's what
well
I'm
done.
looking for here.
Good job, Willy. Willy.
Let's chuck a treat, and that ends the session. So give that a try and see how it goes with your dog.